Commander Marcus Chen had seen many strange things in his 32 years of life. He had survived first contact with aliens when he was just a young soldier. He had fought in 3 wars between humans and the sovereignty of endless stars. He had even survived a military trial that nearly destroyed his career. But nothing in his entire life had prepared him for what stood before him. Now, Princess Valeth of the Sovereignty stood in his small room aboard the diplomatic ship Olive Branch. Her skin glowed with soft light that changed colors like a living rainbow. She had 4 eyes instead of 2, and each pair seemed to look at different parts of him at the same time. She was tall and beautiful in a way that was completely alien, yet somehow familiar. "Touch me, human," she said. Her voice was not asking. It was commanding. Marcus did not move. He knew the rules. In this galaxy full of different species, touching another race without permission could start wars. One wrong move could end his career or his life. The Sovereignty had nearly destroyed Earth in the Contact Wars. Their empire spread across 800 worlds. And now their princess was standing in his room, demanding something impossible. "Your Highness," Marcus said carefully, "I do not think you understand what you are asking." "I understand perfectly." Her 4 eyes narrowed as she studied him. "My doctors say I am dying. There is a sickness in my neural lattice, the part of my brain that connects all my thoughts together. It is falling apart. There is no cure among my people." She stepped closer to him. Marcus felt his heart beating faster. "But human bodies are different," she continued. "Your nervous systems create electrical patterns that my people cannot copy. Your scientists do not even know about this. But we do. My doctors believe that if a human touches me, really touches me, your bioelectric field might fix what is breaking inside me." Marcus felt the weight of her words pressing down on him. The princess of an empire that had nearly destroyed humanity was asking him to save her life with his hands. "And if it does not work?" he asked. Valeth smiled. Her teeth were like perfect white pearls. "Then you will have touched royalty without healing her. My guards will kill you. My father will destroy your planet." Her smile grew wider. "But if it works, Commander, humanity gains a friend it badly needs. The Sovereignty could protect your people instead of threatening them." Marcus thought about this. It was not really a choice. It was a trap with only one way out. Before he could answer, alarm bells screamed through the ship. The lights turned red. The whole vessel shook like something had hit it hard. "Commander, to the bridge," a voice shouted through the speakers. "We are under attack. Sovereign ships are firing on us." Vellet's glowing skin changed to a color Marcus had never seen before. He would later learn it meant fear. "My brother," she whispered. "Corvith knows I am here. He knows I am trying to live." The ship shook again. Marcus heard metal screaming somewhere below them. Without thinking, he grabbed the princess to stop her from falling. His hands touched her arms. Her skin was warm and smooth, and the moment they connected, something happened. It felt like lightning was running through his body, but it did not hurt. It felt like every cell in his body was suddenly awake for the first time. He could feel the ship around him, not just the floor under his feet, but everything. The engines, the computers, the weapons, the shields. It was like they had become part of his own body. Gillis' 4 eyes went wide. Her skin was now glowing brighter than ever before, cycling through colors so fast they blurred together. Then every light on the ship went dark. For a long moment, it was only silence and darkness. Marcus could still feel Vellet's arms under his hands. He could still feel that strange connection between them. Humming like a song he had always known, but never heard. Emergency power came on. Red lights filled the room with a dim glow. Valeth had not fallen. She was standing very still, staring at him like he was something impossible. "What did you do?" she breathed. "I do not know." The ship's computer voice crackled to life. "Commander Chen, your body readings are strange. Your brain activity has increased by 400%. Also, the ship's main systems are now rooting through." The computer paused. It had never paused before. "Through you, sir. Explain that," Marcus demanded. "I cannot explain it." But our weapons are charging. Our shields are holding. And the enemy ships have stopped firing. Marcus and Valeth looked at each other. Without speaking, they both ran to the bridge. What they found there made no sense. The crew was staring at the view screen with their mouths open. Outside the ship, 3 massive sovereign battlecruisers hung in space. They were not moving. Their lights were dark. Their weapons were cold and silent. "They are not dead," the tactical officer reported. His voice was shaking. "The people inside are still alive. But every system on those ships just stopped working. Like someone turned them off." Valeth slowly reached for Marcus's hand. When their fingers touched, the lights on the bridge grew brighter. The computer screens glowed with more power than they had ever shown before. The crew gasped. "The healers were wrong," Valeth said softly. "Your bioelectric field did not stabilize my neural lattice." She turned to look at him, wonder in all 4 of her eyes. "It synchronized with it. Human and Valere neurology are compatible. More than compatible? When we touch, we create a frequency that can control technology itself." "That is impossible," Marcus said. "So is what just happened?" She pointed at the frozen fleet outside. "My brother's ships are the most advanced in the entire sovereignty. They cannot be hacked. They cannot be defeated. But we just defeated them by holding hands." Before Marcus could respond, a face appeared on the view screen. It looked like Valeth, but sharper and crueler. The same glowing skin, but twisted into an expression of pure hatred. "Sister." Prince Korvat's voice was like poison. "I see you found your pet human. Did you think hiding among the vermin would save you?" "I am not hiding, brother. I am evolving. You are dying." Father's doctors confirmed it. "I am simply making it happen faster." His eyes moved to Marcus. "But this thing with the human is interesting. I will study it after I cut you both open. You will have to catch us first." Veleth's hand squeezed Marcus's. The ship's engines roared to life with power they had never had before. The olive branch shot forward faster than any human ship had ever moved, leaving the frozen battlecruisers behind like they were standing still. The hunt had begun. The journey took 3 weeks. 3 weeks of jumping between star systems, 3 weeks of hiding in asteroid fields and behind dead moons, 3 weeks of running from Prince Korvat's hunters while trying to understand. What was happening between them? Marcus learned many things during those weeks. He learned that when he touched Valeth, the walls between their minds became thin. He could feel nearby machines like they were parts of his own body. Computers, engines, weapons, shields. Everything with circuits and power became an extension of his will. Valeth learned things too. She discovered that when they were connected, she could read human emotions perfectly. Marcus's feelings appeared to her like colors and patterns in his bioelectric field. She could tell when he was happy, scared, angry, or confused without him saying a single word. But they also found limits. They could not stay connected forever. After an hour or 2 of touching, exhaustion hit them both like a wall. Their bodies would shake. Their minds would blur. They needed rest before they could connect again. They also discovered that accidents did not work. One morning, Marcus bumped into Valeth while reaching for his food. Nothing happened. No connection, no power. It was like touching a normal person. Intent matters. Valeth explained that evening as they sat together in the small common room. Our minds must choose to connect. We must both want it. The frequency needs harmony between us. That sounds like magic, not science. Perhaps my people were wrong to think those are different things. The Olive Branch's crew had accepted the strange situation with the calmness that came from years in space. They had seen impossible things before. A human commander holding hands with an alien princess to make the ship fly faster was just another item on a long list. Lieutenant Sarah Kim, the ship's pilot, was the most curious. She asked questions constantly. How did it feel? Could they talk to each other without words? Could other humans and Valori do the same thing? Marcus had no answers for her. He was still trying to understand it himself. On the 15th day, Valeth finally told him where they were going. "The Archive of Echoes," she said. "It is an ancient place. My ancestors built it before we ever left our home planet. It holds all the knowledge of my people from the very beginning. Why would that help us? Because the old records speak of a time when we were not alone. Her voice became soft and serious. They describe another species that lived among us. Beings who looked different, but felt familiar. The descriptions are incomplete, but Commander ... She reached out and touched his face gently. They sound like humans. Marcus felt cold despite the warmth of her hand. That is not possible. Humans evolved on Earth. We have fossils. We have DNA evidence. And yet here we are, Valeth said. Connected in a way that should not be possible. Creating frequencies that should not exist. Perhaps the evidence you have is not complete. 3 days later, they reached their destination. The archive of echoes appeared on their screens as a moon, gray and covered with craters. But sensors showed it was hollow inside. Someone had carved out the center long ago and filled it with something else. The archive, Valeth breathed. I have only seen pictures. No one has been inside for thousands of years. Why not? Because no one could get in. The doors would not open for anyone. Marcus looked at the view screen and felt his heart sink. Surrounding the ancient moon was a fleet of ships, dozens of them. And at the center sat a vessel larger than all the others combined. Corvath, he said, he beat us here. Vila's skin flickered with fear colors. But then she studied the readings more closely. No, wait. He is not inside the archive. He is just waiting outside. His ships have not entered. Why would he wait? Vila's 4 eyes went wide as she understood. Because he cannot get in. The archive chooses who enters. It was built by the ones who came before. The ones like you? She grabbed Marcus's hand and he felt their connection spring to life. Corvath has no human to touch. No way to make the frequency we make together, so we can get in and he cannot. Exactly. Lieutenant Kim flew the olive branch in a wide circle around the moon, staying far from Corvath's fleet. They landed in a deep canyon on the side, facing away from the ships. The crew stayed aboard to guard their only way home, while Marcus and Valeth walked into the darkness. The caves were not natural. The walls were too smooth, the tunnels too perfect. Everything was covered with symbols that seemed to dance at the edge of Marcus's understanding. He could almost read them. They felt like a language he had known once, long ago, and then forgotten. They walked for what felt like hours. The symbols grew more complex. The walls began to glow with the same soft light as Vila's skin. And finally, they reached the heart of the archive. It was a chamber made of crystal and light. At its center stood a figure. Marcus stopped breathing. The figure was not human. It was not Valerie. It was both. It had Vila's glowing skin, but Marcus's face shape. It had 4 eyes like hers, but they were set in a pattern more like his. It wore clothing that mixed both of their cultures in ways that felt completely natural. "What? You have returned," the figure said. Its voice echoed in ways that touched something deep inside them both. After 200,000 years, the children have finally found each other again. "What are you?" Valeth whispered. "I am a memory. A record. A promise kept in stone and light until this moment." The figure spread its arms, and the entire archive came alive around them. Images appeared on every surface. Moving pictures of a history beyond anything either of them had imagined. "Once," the figure said, "your peoples were one," the images flowing. Across the crystal walls showed Marcus and Valeth things that changed. Everything they knew about the universe. "We called ourselves the Harmonic," the figure explained. Its voice was gentle, like a parent telling a bedtime story to children who had been lost for far too long. "We were a species that could touch the universe itself through bioelectric resonance. Technology did not serve us. We became one with it. Our minds could speak to machines, to each other, to the very fabric of space. The walls showed cities that floated in the sky, ships that moved between stars like birds flying between trees, people who glowed with inner light, working together in perfect harmony. We built civilizations that covered galaxies. We thought we were gods." The figure's face grew sad. "But we were only people, and people make mistakes." The images changed. The beautiful cities were burning. Ships fought each other in the darkness between stars. The glowing people were killing each other. We grew proud, the figure continued. Some of us wanted to stay as we were, beings of flesh and light. Others wanted to become something more. They wished to leave their bodies behind and become pure energy, pure thought. The two sides could not agree. They could not find harmony. And without harmony, the harmonic could not exist. Veleth was crying. Tears rolled down her glowing cheeks as she watched her ancestors destroy themselves. In the end, there was no victory, only survival. The two groups fled to opposite ends of the universe. Those who wished to remain organic went to a small blue planet at the edge of one galaxy. They hid themselves. They changed themselves. They gave up their glowing skin, their extra eyes, their ability to touch machines with their minds. They became something simpler, something that could hide and survive and grow again in secret. Humans, Marcus said. His voice was barely a whisper. Yes, your people forgot everything they once were. But the potential remained, sleeping inside your bodies, passed down through countless generations. Waiting. The images shifted again. They showed another group fleeing in a different direction. The others came here, to the core worlds. They kept their outer gifts, the glowing skin, the four eyes. But they lost something else. They lost the frequency. The deep connection that let them speak to machines and to each other. They could still touch technology, but they could not truly bond with it anymore. My people, Veleth said. The Valori, yes. Two halves of one whole, separated by war and pride and 200,000 years of forgetting. Marcus's mind was spinning. Everything he knew about human history, about evolution, about where his species came from, it was all incomplete. Humans had not evolved on Earth. They had fled there. They had hidden there. They had changed themselves to survive. The princess's sickness, Marcus said. What is it really? Not a sickness. The figure smiled gently. An awakening. Her neural lattice is reaching out for something it has been missing for millennia. It is searching for the human frequency. Without it, the awakening will destroy her. Her mind will burn itself out, reaching for something it cannot find. But with it, Veleth asked. With it, she becomes whole. You both do. Together, you are what we once were. Apart, you are only pieces of something greater.
Now the figure walked toward them.
Up close, Marcus could see it was not solid. Light and memory given shape, nothing more. This is why you could enter the archive when others could not. This is why your connection works the way it does. This is why it feels so natural, so right. The figure placed ghostly hands on both their shoulders. You are family, reunited after an endless night. An explosion shook the chamber. Dust fell from the crystal ceiling. The beautiful walls cracked. Corveth, Marcus said. He is destroying the archive from outside. Cannot enter, but he can bring the moon down around us. The figure was already starting to fade. Go now. Take what you have learned. Become what you were meant to be. Wait, Veleth called. How do we stop him? How do we change anything? We are two people against an empire. You are two people who carry the song of the universe inside you. The figure's voice was growing distant. The harmonic fell because they forgot that connection requires trust. They built walls between each other instead of bridges. They chose power over love. Another explosion. The ground shifted beneath their feet. Choose differently. Choose openness. Choose to reach out, even when you are afraid. Show the galaxy what connection can build, instead of what division destroyed. The figure smiled one last time. The frequency of humanity is hope. Never lose that. And it was gone. Marcus grabbed Veleth's hand and they ran. Behind them, the archive of echoes was dying, its ancient crystals shattering, its stored memories scattering into nothing. 200,000 years of history crumbling to dust, but the most important part of that history was running through collapsing tunnels, holding hands, carrying the truth inside them, like a flame that could not be put out. They burst out of the archive's entrance, just as the entire section collapsed behind them. The olive branch was waiting, engines hot. Lieutenant Kim's voice shouting at them to hurry through the Communicators. They barely made it aboard before the ship lifted off. Racing away from the dying moon and the fleet of enemies waiting above. Report, Marcus gasped as they reached the bridge. Korvat's flagship is moving to intercept, Kim said. And sir, he brought more ships while you were inside. A lot more. The view screen showed what she meant. The original fleet had been dozens of ships. Now there were over 100. Battle cruisers, destroyers, carriers, enough firepower to burn a planet to glass. He really does not want us to leave, Valeth said. Can we jump to hyperspace? Not yet. We need 3 more minutes to charge the drive. 3 minutes. Marcus looked at the approaching fleet. In 3 minutes, they would be dust. Then we fight, he said. He took Veleth's hand. Their connection sprang to life, stronger than ever before. The truth they had learned in the archive flowed between them like electricity. They were not 2 different species. They were one family, broken and scattered, and finally coming back together. The olive branch seemed to feel it too. The ship hummed with power it had never shown before. Shields strengthened. Weapons charged. Systems that were meant to be separate suddenly worked together in perfect harmony. All hands, Marcus announced to the crew. Hold on to something. This is going to be interesting. The olive branch flew straight toward the enemy fleet. Every rule of space combat said this was suicide. One small diplomatic ship against 100 warships was not a battle. It was an execution. But Marcus and Valeth were done running. They had the truth now. They understood what they were, and they were going to use it. Human vessel. Prince Korvat's voice echoed through the bridge speakers. You have exactly 30 seconds to surrender the princess. Do this, and I will make your death quick. Counteroffer, Marcus replied. His hand gripped Veleth so tightly his knuckles were white. But she gripped back just as hard. Stand down your fleet, or we will make you. Laughter filled the bridge. Cold, cruel laughter from a prince who had never lost anything in his life. You in what army, human? Marcus smiled. We do not need an army. The olive branch surged forward. And then everything changed. Marcus could feel every ship in the enemy fleet. Their engines, their weapons, their shields, their navigation systems. They were like instruments waiting to be played, and he and Leth were the conductors. The first battlecruiser's weapons turned away from the olive branch, aimed at the ship next to it. The second ship's shields flickered and died. The third ship's engines cut out completely, leaving it drifting in space. Chaos erupted across the fleet. Ships that had been flying in perfect formation suddenly went crazy. Some turned in circles. Others crashed into each other. Weapons fired at random, hitting allies instead of enemies. What is happening? Someone screamed over the communication channels. Our systems are not responding. Navigation is offline. We have lost control. Olive Branch danced through the chaos like a leaf on the wind. Shots that should have hit them missed by inches. Ships that should have blocked their path drifted away at the last second. Marcus and Valeth were not just flying their own ship anymore. They were flying all of them, but it was not enough. Even with their power, they could not control 100 ships forever. The olive branch was still small, still fragile. Korvat's fleet was massive. A lucky shot got through their defenses. The ship shook hard. Alarms screamed. Hull breach. In sections 7 through 12, the computer announced. Another hit, then another. We are losing pressure in the lower decks, shields at 40%. Marcus felt Valeth weakening beside him. They had been connected for too long. Their bodies were burning out, just like the archive figure had warned. The frequency between them was starting to flicker like a candle in the wind. We cannot keep this up, Valeth gasped. Her glowing skin was growing dim. We do not have to. An idea came to Marcus. It was crazy. It was impossible. It was exactly the kind of thing a human would think of. We have been doing this wrong. What do you mean? We've been using our connection to control things, to fight, to disable. He turned to look at her, and even exhausted, even dying, she was the most incredible thing he had ever seen. But the archive said the harmonic were healers, not warriors. What if we stop trying to control their ships and start trying to connect with the people inside them? Velith's 4 eyes went wide. That is not possible. We can touch machines. We cannot touch minds. The harmonic could. Our ancestors could. Maybe we can too. He squeezed her hand. The frequency is not about power. It is about connection. We have been using it like a weapon. What if we use it like a bridge instead? It was insane. Biology did not work that way. Evolution did not work that way. But biology also said a human and an alien could not share a neural frequency. Valith understood. He could feel her understanding through their link. She did not argue. She did not hesitate. She simply shifted her focus, and together they reached out in a completely new direction. Not to the cold circuits of the ships, to the warm minds inside them. Every Valori in the fleet felt it at the same moment. A resonance, a recognition, a frequency they had been missing their entire lives without knowing it existed. It was like hearing a song they had known before they were born. It was like coming home after being lost for 200,000 years. Images flowed through the connection. Everything Marcus and Valith had learned in the archive. The truth about the harmonic. The truth about humans and Valori. The truth about what they could become together. The weapons stopped firing. All across the fleet, ships went dark. Not because they were disabled, because their crews chose to shut them down. Soldiers who had been ready to kill moments ago were now sitting in their chairs, tears streaming down their faces, overwhelmed by what they had just felt. "What is this?" someone asked, over the open communication channels. "Did you feel that? The connection? The princess is telling the truth?" "I felt it. We all felt it. We are the same. We have always been the same." Only one ship remained hostile. Korvath's flagship sat in the middle of the fleet, its shields still up, its weapons still hot. The prince had not felt anything. His heart was too closed, too full of hate. The frequency could not reach him. Lies. His voice screamed across all channels. "This is human tricks. Alien magic. I do not need my fleet. I will kill you myself." His flagship surged forward. A massive cannon at its front began to glow. It was building up a shot powerful enough to destroy the olive branch completely. Marcus and Valith had nothing left. They'd given everything to reach the fleet. Their connection was barely a whisper now. Their bodies were shaking with exhaustion. They could not stop him, but they were not alone. Anymore, a ship moved between them and the flagship. Then another, then 10 more, then 50. The crews they had touched, the minds they had awakened, were forming a living wall between Korvath and his targets. "This is Captain Cirith of the Bright Covenant," a voice announced. It was calm and steady. "Prince Korvath, your fleet stands down. You stand alone. In the name of what we just witnessed, we ask you to surrender peacefully. You would commit treason." Korvath's voice cracked with rage. "For them, you would commit to hope," Captain Cirith replied. "Something you have never offered us, Prince." More ships joined the wall, dozens of them, then all of them. Every vessel in the fleet except Korvath's flagship was now protecting the olive branch. The prince screamed with rage. It was not a human sound or a Valoré sound. It was the sound of someone whose entire world was falling apart. His flagship's weapons powered down. Not because he surrendered, because his own crew had turned them off. "This is not over," Korvath snarled. "This is not over." His ship jumped. To hyperspace, fleeing into the void, running away from a battle he had already lost. For a long moment, no one moved. No one spoke. Then Velith's hand tightened on Marcus's, and she smiled. "We did it." Marcus looked at the fleet of ships surrounding them. Minutes ago, they had been enemies. Now, they were something else. He was not sure what to call them yet. Friends, maybe, or family. "No," he said. "This is just the beginning." 6 months passed. The galaxy changed more in those 6 months than it had in the previous 1,000 years. The story of what happened at the Archive of Echoes spread like fire through dry grass. Prince Korvath tried to stop it. He called it lies. He called it human propaganda, called it a trick designed to weaken the sovereignty. But he could not stop the truth from spreading. Scientists from both species studied the evidence. They compared human DNA to Valor DNA. They examined the ruins of the archive before it completely collapsed. They tested the connection between human and Valori volunteers. Every study came back with the same answer. The ancient hologram had been telling the truth. Humans and Valori shared 98% of their genetic code. They were not two different species. They were two branches of the same family tree, separated by disaster and time. The implications changed everything. Treaties that had been impossible to negotiate suddenly became easy. Trade routes opened between human and Valori space. Scientists began working together instead of against each other. Military leaders who had spent their lives preparing for the next war started planning for peace instead. And the bonding phenomenon that Marcus and Valeth had discovered was not unique to them. Other human Valor pairs began experiencing the same thing. The connections were weaker at first. It required time and trust and genuine desire from both people. Not everyone could do it. Some humans and some Valori simply could not find harmony together, no matter how hard they tried. But those who could were extraordinary. They could heal neural damage that had been considered permanent. They could interface with technology in ways that made the most advanced computers look primitive. They could sense truth and lies, reading each other's bioelectric fields like open books. Some pairs developed abilities that no one had ever seen before. The harmonic were returning to the galaxy. One connection at a time. Marcus stood on the balcony of the Reconciliation Embassy. It was the first building ever constructed by humans and Valore working together. It floated in neutral space, far from any planet, a symbol of everything that was changing. Below him, the main hall was full of people from both species. Diplomats negotiated new agreements. Scientists shared research. Soldiers who had once tried to kill each other now shared drinks and stories. Some of them were holding hands, experimenting with the connection, laughing when they felt even a tiny spark of the frequency. "You look nervous," Valeth said, joining him on the balcony. Marcus turned to look at her.
Yes.
6 months ago, she had been dying. Her neural lattice had been falling apart, burning itself out, reaching for something it could not find.
Ow.
She glowed brighter than ever. Her 4 eyes sparkled with health and happiness. The awakening that had been killing her had become her greatest strength. "I am terrified," Marcus admitted. "This is bigger than us now. What we started. It is changing everything. What if we got it wrong? What if someone finds a way to use this connection for evil? What if another Corvette appears and turns it into a weapon? Then we will face it." Valeth took his hand. Their connection sprang to life, comfortable and familiar now, like a conversation between old friends. Together you make it sound simple. It is simple. Not easy, but simple. She stepped closer to him. The harmonic fell because they forgot that connection requires trust. They became afraid of each other. They built walls instead of bridges. They chose power over openness and us. We choose differently every day. We choose to reach out. We choose to trust. We choose to be vulnerable, even when it is terrifying. Her hand squeezed his. That is what makes this work. Not the frequency. Not the genetics. The choice. Below them, a human diplomat laughed at something a Valore ambassador said. Their hands brushed against each other, and for just a moment their bioelectric fields flickered in response. Both of them stopped. Both of them stared at each other with wonder. It was a tiny thing, a spark, a hint of what was possible. But watching it, Marcus felt something shift inside him. Hope, he realized. Real hope for the first time in longer than he could remember. The galaxy is big, Valeth said. Full of species we have not met. Full of wounds we have not healed. Full of frequencies we have not discovered yet. This is only the beginning. That is what terrifies me. That is what excites me. She turned him to face her fully. All 4 of her eyes met both of his. When I came to your ship 6 months ago, I was dying. I was desperate. I demanded that you touch me because I had no other choice. I did not ask. I ordered. Like the princess I was raised to be. I remember. But you did not touch me because I demanded it. You touched me because the ship was attacked, and you reached out to help me. You chose connection in a moment of crisis. That is the most human thing I have ever seen. Marcus felt warmth spread through his chest. Through their connection, he knew Valeth felt it too. Your people forgot that you were once part of something greater, she continued. You forgot your glowing skin and your extra eyes and your ability to speak to machines. But you never forgot how to reach out, how to help, how to hope. She pressed her forehead against his. It was a Valerie gesture of deep trust. Between them, it meant even more. That is what you gave us. Not technology, not power, hope, the belief that tomorrow can be better than today, the courage to reach across the void and take someone's hand. They stood together in silence for a long moment. Below them, the embassy hummed with activity. Two species that had nearly destroyed each other were learning to be one family again. It would not be easy. There would be setbacks and failures and people like Corveth, who could not let go of hate. But there would also be moments like this. Quiet moments of connection. Small sparks of the frequency flickering to life in unexpected places. The harmonic song slowly returning to a galaxy that had forgotten how to sing. Thank you, Valeth whispered. For not running. For reaching back when I reached out. Thank you for reaching at all. Stars wheeled overhead, ancient light finally illuminating a future that neither species could have imagined alone. Somewhere out there, Corveth was plotting revenge. Somewhere out there, other threats were rising. The galaxy was vast and dangerous and full of the unknown. But here, now, two halves of a shattered whole had found each other across an ocean of time. Their hands were intertwined. Their frequencies were harmonized. And in their connection, the universe remembered what it had once been, what it could be again, not through conquest, not through power, but through the simple, terrifying, beautiful act of reaching out and saying, I am here. I see you. We are not alone. A harmonic had returned, and humanity had shown the galaxy the way home.